Good morning, I think. I hate Facebook. If they could make it more confusing, I'm sure they would, but it's confusing enough. Trying to post and let people know that I'm going live on YouTube. It took for freaking ever. Let's see, it took almost 10 minutes. Well, anyway, good morning. We are live from beautiful, sunny downtown Crestline in the San Bernardino Mountains of Southern California's Inland Empire. I hope you have good audio. I can't tell from here. I think it's good. Wow, I have so many things to talk about, but as soon as the camera is on me, I go, what? Well, this world is not what it appears to be. And of course, I knew that before I ever met Philip K. Dick. Married him, had a child with him. I was ready to listen to him, if not to accept everything he said. But most of it, oh yeah. The thing is, sorry. Hi, Tora. Did you want to say hi to your adoring fans? Oh, okay. Most of what he had to say was personal experience, which, well, hi to Flagger in the chat room. Let's see. Where's my mouse? I'll just call you 2. The number 2. It's easier to type. Yes, Tora, come here. Come on. Look it. Okay, it's impossible to verify your personal experience for someone else. Yeah, that's Tora. See your kitty cat? Yes. See your adoring fans? Oh, you're heavy. I can barely pick her up. Well, anyway, there is some evidence for Phil's personal experience. Oh, that's weird. I gotta find a better way to mount the webcam. Okay. For example, he claimed that he had a phone call from Dr. Timothy Leary and John Lennon of the Beatles. Well, I found some evidence that that was true. Hi, Howard. In the chat room. And Witta. Hi, Witta. Witta. Also in the chat room. Well, since John Lennon and Yoko Ono were holding a bed in for peace, and Phil's friend, the journalist Paul Williams, was there, it all comes together. Paul Williams knew Phil's phone number. So it's entirely possible, even likely, that that phone call did occur. But I wasn't there. I hadn't even met Phil yet. He was still married to Nancy, Issa's mother. Nor what, Howard? Well, anyway, that's just one example. I've got to move things around so I don't mess up the camera all the time with my glass of water. Okay. Let's see. Neat thing about the camera is it makes it easy to show you all the books and stuff I've got. Um, well, lots of things happen to Phil. Oh, typo, morning. Hi, Howard. That's cute. Let's see. LOL. I like being back to a real keyboard. I'm not thrilled with having a tail on my mouse, the cord, but it doesn't go to sleep. The one that works on a battery goes to sleep, and sometimes the battery goes dead. Anyway, I've had lots of weird experiences, and I think I'm more upset to find that they were probably real and not my imagination, not dreams, not hallucinations. It's more scary to me to think that they were real. Hi, Andy. You still can't drive? Excuse me, you drove me somewhere a few years back. I don't know what happened since then. We haven't been in touch. I can't drive at night. Oh, I see too, yeah. A paranormal experience can be written off as imagination or dreaming until you have evidence. Like that book, UFOs over California, that describes how thousands of people saw what I saw in August of 1960. Gigantic red ball, glowing red ball, hovering in the sky and traveling. I was kind of shocked when my older and smarter brother said that he also saw it. He brought it up. I didn't bring it up myself. Didn't want to suggest anything and just have my own ideas mirrored back. I wanted to be sure that it was I didn't just use the power of suggestion to make him think he saw it. Well, he saw it. And then a couple years after that, I found that book. Let me see if I can grab the book real quick. Let's see. I keep forgetting what color it is. I think it's red. Oh, it should be right here. Well, anyway, there's a whole series for different states. Maybe it's the yellow one. I'm just blank on where I put it. Okay, some other time. I should have had it ready before I came on the air. But UFOs over California describes it. And apparently there were sightings all over California, from Northern California all the way into Baja. Oh, the new Thinking Aloud channel. That sounds cool, Two Flagger. Did I say you drove too fast, Andy? I don't remember. I used to drive fast until I got a speeding ticket. The nice Chippy, California Highway Patrol, wrote me up for 75. I was really going 95, but he didn't want to take me to jail. Well, it was downhill on the Grapevine. It's about a about a 6% grade. Doesn't sound like much, but it really is. When I was driving a little two-seater Fiat with a four-cylinder engine that you could almost pick up without a winch, uh, it wouldn't do more than 35 going uphill on that grade. Anyway, I can't drive at night. I can't. The oncoming headlights just blind me, especially if some idiot flashes their high beams. You're just supposed, if you must, you're just supposed to do it very briefly, not drive your high beams into someone's brain. I got a highway patrol once, wasted his time. I was in the fast lane on the infamous 91 freeway going through Riverside County into Orange County. I was not speeding. There was moderate traffic. And I knew it was a highway patrol behind me. I was being very careful and looking for a way to move over to the right and let the cop go. He turned on his high beams and lit up my little car and kept them on. So from behind me, my mirrors were washed out and I was, it was like daylight inside my car. So I put on my right blinker. I'd been planning a lane change anyway. I hit the gas. I'm sorry, Everett. I can't approve that. Just can't. I don't want to report it. I just want to remove it. There we go. Here. I'm not approving things like that, Everett. You need to be nice. Some cops are bad, some are good. I hope that most of them are good, but you never know. I've run into some bad ones. In any case, this cop was a bad one. So I hit the gas and got over to the right. I had to find an opening, so I sped up, moved over to the right, and I didn't even wait to see if the cop was following me because I knew he would. And I went all the way over to the right-hand shoulder there were 4 lanes in all, 4. Pulled over, shut off my car. Oh, and by the way, before I did that, I tilted all my mirrors. The side views had a little toggle switches inside, and the rear view, I twisted it the way someone else had shown me. If your rear view mirror is parallel to your windshield and not tilted toward you so you can see better, but pointing straight back, it points the cop's high beams back in his face. I left my mirrors tilted and just sat there, and he, yep, pulled up behind me, all his lights flashing, his light on, and of course his spotlight was bouncing off my mirror into his face, my side view. And as he approached, because this particular car had all these neat buttons, I put the window down and put the dome light on. Oh, and by then I had my driver's license in my lap. So as he approached, my window went down, my dome light went on, and I'm sitting there holding my license, handed it to him. And I just played dumb and innocent. I said, well, somebody behind me had his high beams on and they were blinding me, so I had to pull over. I did not get a ticket, plus, I wasted his time. Yeah, he ran my plate, he ran my license, couldn't find anything. So, he said the usual, have a nice day. It was the middle of the night. I worked at night. And I was heading home. This was really quite an experience, but it wasn't that bad. The bad one was when I lived in Old Town Orange. A lowlife who was high on drugs and drunk at the same time. He was doing speed and drinking. Did a home invasion on the house next door, and I was a witness. Well, some of the employees of the local police were friends of his, and they actually did everything in their power to find an excuse to arrest me and my son. They did pick up my son when he was at a neighbor's house where they were serving beer. And the juvenile officer who interviewed him, because they actually took him to juvenile hall, she advised him that he ought to sue the police for arresting him. But he didn't want to do that. Anyway, we ended up moving to an entirely different county just to get away from all that nonsense. I had to sell my dream home, beautiful bungalow style house. I think it was built around 1920, maybe earlier. It was awesome. And walking distance to Chapman College, where I was still going to school, but it just wasn't working. Yeah, I agree, Everett. So some cops really are scumbags. You can say that. But you see, I don't want to insult pigs. They're cute and sweet and very nice critters. I don't have a problem with our sheriffs here. Well, I sold the house. I didn't exactly lose it, Everett, but I've never recovered financially or emotionally. Yes, pigs are wonderful animals, Everett. But don't generalize. I've run into some very good, especially deputies. I don't know about Los Angeles. They're sheriffs have bad reputations. But here where I am, our local sheriffs are really good guys. I did have a problem with the highway patrol, but that's another story. Long and probably boring. And basically, the guy who hit my car lied and got two of his friends to pretend to be witnesses. I had full insurance coverage, so I did get some money from my own insurance. But I canceled with that company because they didn't back me up. They just took the easy way out. Well, okay for now, but just okay. But that's fine. I'm actually able to help others because I joined the Lions Club. And with them, no matter how little you have yourself, as a group, we can help each other. I can volunteer at fundraisers and such. Sometimes we get a small group together to pick up trash around town from the side of the road. Sometimes we gather together to help a specific person who's in need and can't clean up their house or their yard. Aw, see you too. Thanks for coming. There. Anyway, yeah. But when I tell you my personal experiences, you don't have evidence. I don't have evidence that I can give you. Hi, Jason, in the chat room. I'm having fun on my desktop computer. I can't tell from here, but people tell me that the picture and audio are better. I have to do something about the lighting. Not sure what. Here's some of my books. Now, if Sweetie should happen to come out of hiding, I can point the camera at her. Here's my computer. Well, my screen. Uh, all of my clutter. More books. And even more books. Come on. Where's it going? There. Here. The lamp. I know Cardinal Sin rags on me about having the light behind me instead of shining on my face, but I like it that way. It lights up my hair. Let's see, let's look at that side of the room. China cabinet picked up at a thrift shop. Um, Books, stuff, clutter. Let's see. Clutter. Laptop, computer, clutter, Windows. Oh, and there's more clutter back here. Canned food. That cabinet, that's the side of it. It serves as a pantry because my kitchen is too tiny and has no. Well, it has one cupboard, but it's up so high it's useless for me. Yeah, Everett. Phil, Phil, well, his health was never that good. He was born premature and in 1928, so he was kind of doomed from the start. He did leave some trust funds for his children, but they weren't all that much money. And frankly, the lawyers and Hollywood are making plenty of money off of Phil's work, but his children all have jobs. They work for a living, which is not such a bad thing, except when it's paycheck to paycheck. Yeah, the lawyers. Um, oh well. I don't get anything. I did get a settlement related to my divorce, but that's all gone too. So, I'm on Social Security, paid into that system for years and years. You don't have a choice. And now they act like it's an event. Crying out loud. I paid into it. And it did hurt financially when I had to pay into it. Uh, and now that I'm getting my own money back, that's, ooh, you're on welfare. No, I'm not. I'm collecting my pension. Let's see. There, here we go. I'm still playing with the camera and everything. Anyway, I'm really happy with the desktop computer. Well, I did divorce him, Everett, but while he was alive, I'll give you an example. My son, our son, um, went to a private school and Phil paid the tuition. He did try public school, he did try a church school, and this young man who had been, all the teachers loved him, he was wonderful, he was bright, he was trustworthy. At public school and at this particular church school, he was always in trouble. So got him into a better school and Phil paid for it. Yeah, your wife is entitled to be mad at you, Everett. Yeah, I was mad at Phil. But see, he was incapable of fidelity. He always had one foot out the door looking at other women and even took a few out to dinner and a movie. But when he kicked me out of the house, the girlfriend he had at the time refused to move in with him. She said, "No, you're married." And that's when he tried to kill himself, and it was not a serious attempt, it was a cry for help. Well, I had spent the night at my dad's house, and I went back and tried to work it out. But once again, he always had one foot out the door. He had the nerve to call his girlfriend and say, "See, I tried to kill myself. You have to move in with me." And she still said no. So he moved out, got a moving van, and took all the furniture and things of value, rented an apartment, talked her into moving in with him, and then told all the people he knew that I had left him. Well, then how come he had all the furniture and knew I left him? Excuse me? Oh well. So I was angry. And he kept asking me to go back to him, to take him back, marry him again. I never should have signed the divorce papers. Well, I finally, one year around Christmas, I said, "Okay, yes, I'll marry you." But before we could set the wedding date, he died. I think he used to say he was afraid of me, and I couldn't understand why. I'm a small person, I don't beat people up. I try to, be honest and obey the law and all of that. Apparently, he was afraid of being in love. Now, we had a huge age difference, about 25 years, but I didn't care. I didn't with him for his looks or his age or any of that. And we did not have much money. When he died, Blade Runner wasn't even released yet. But he had been paid a good amount of money for Blade Runner. And he was, for example, he sent money for his daughter Laura to get a car and go to Stanford University. But he foolishly sent the money to Laura's mother, and Laura says she never saw a penny of it. She was working her way through college and really struggling. She had no idea her father had paid. So when Laura got married the first time, she asked Phil not to go to the wedding, and he had paid for everything, including the photographer, and she actually made him pay for copies of the photos. Well, it turns out she had no idea that he had sent all that money because he sent it to Laura's mother. Sounds a lot like my mother. I would never do that. Never. Oh well. My mother was the devil's sister. Alcoholic and a paranoid schizophrenic. She would punish me and my brothers for things she had hallucinated. And worse than that, she wouldn't tell us what she thought we had done. It's like, you know what you did. Confess. Well, we didn't know what we were accused of, and we couldn't think of anything we had done. We were afraid of that woman, and we behaved as best we could. Oh, she didn't secretly hate being a mother, Jason. She told us she hated being a mother. Her goal in life was to leave Dad. And eventually she did, after I moved out. You see, my brothers were grown and moved out. Then I met Phil and moved out, married Phil. So all she had left was our baby sister, Georgia, the chosen one. She didn't do right by Georgia either. But she didn't want to. It was bad enough being a mother to me and my brothers with Dad in the picture. She didn't want to be stuck with her children without Dad there to at least earn money and stuff like that. Yeah, when I met Phil, I wasn't even looking for a man, but something about him, he touched my heart. He seemed to be needy. He was. He needed someone. He wasn't good on his own. Anyway, Mom suddenly died at age 58, and my brothers and I are convinced it was suicide. But, well, she'd been reading about untraceable poisons, and the coroner did 2 autopsies and couldn't find. He knew her heart had stopped, but he couldn't figure out why. Must have been one of those untraceable poisons. You see, if you don't know what you're looking for, you won't find it in an autopsy. Oh well. Yes, it was sad that Mom died, and about 2 years later I cried over it. I was in shock at first, but nobody misses her. That's the really sad part. Hi, Vcan. Uh, Wow. So anyway, nobody misses Mom. She was a very unhappy person. And I can forgive a lot that she did. Maybe everything. But I really wouldn't want to be around her. It just wouldn't be fun at all. You see, even when I was in my 30s, a mother and everything, she was trying to raise me again because she thought she'd done it wrong or it didn't take. And it's like, Mom, you already raised me. You don't get a do-over. YouTube doesn't notify you? Yeah, well, they don't like me. Plus, I don't have a large audience. If you have 1 million followers, they'll send out the notices. YouTube did take down one of my videos a while back, and they won't tell me why. I appealed, and they still wouldn't tell me why, but they turned down my appeal. I suppose it might have been about COVID or Trump. I don't know. I'm not wild about Trump. But all they said was the form letter, and way down at the bottom it said something about disinformation. Is it disinformation that I had an allergic reaction to a shot? My doctor agrees with me. I should not take a second one. Let's see. I have to. Well, let's hide that, Everett. I agree with you, but yeah, I don't. I can't stand to watch these clips of Biden talking. All I see are those two tiny black eyes, and all I hear is, "You poor man. They're abusing you. Don't put that poor guy in front of a camera and a microphone." Yeah, Trump is entertaining. I don't mind watching him for about a minute, but then I turn that off to um, cat hair. That's what I get for holding Tora up to say hi to you guys. But really, it isn't that critical who sits in the White House, except when the person in the White House issues hundreds of executive orders. Those were supposed to be for things like ordering the White House china, not foreign policy or not domestic policy either. It's like, oh, we need new curtains. Let's sign an executive order and buy new curtains. That sort of thing. Well, let's see. We are a little over 40 minutes in, and I have to recycle some coffee as always. So hang in there. I'll be right back. Oh, Beacon saw my chat with Clyde Lewis. Okay, let's see. BRB. I'll be back. Hang in there. Dum dum de dum de dum. Hi, sweetie. That's my cute kitty cat. Her there. Dum de dum. Dum de dum de dum. Dum de dum. Dum de dum de dum. I think I'm back. Whew. See ya, Howard. Okay. Oh, I'm not royalty. I'm waiting for another DNA test. I took one with a company that has a very small database. And they matched me with some people on mom's side of the family, but nobody on dad's side except my brother. So I went ahead and got a DNA kit from Ancestry.com because they have a huge database. So we'll see whether I match anyone on dad's side, but there's a very good chance that dad is not my father. I didn't do this while he was living, but he's gone. He passed away in 2014. Oh, that's the problem. I made Tora say hi to her adoring fans and I didn't give her treats. That's why she disappeared on me. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I'm in the doghouse. Okay, let's see. I'm still wondering, I'm still on the. There's a. I'm just not sure. It's a wobbler, but I believe that I went to one of those secret schools. I have memories that just don't fit. Memories of being taught science in engineering. For space travel. And yet, my school never taught those subjects. I don't seem to have any wrenches in my chat room. Oh, horrors, horrors. Facebook quit doing that to me. Evil Facebook is notifying me. People have birthdays. People want to friend me. I'm very cautious about accepting friend requests. Because it'll turn out they want a date or they want money and they really don't know or care who I am. They just think, oh, I can get some money. Or they pretend to be in the military when they are not, and they're using someone else's photo in uniform, or a photo of someone who's handsome when they are not. Well, I'm glad. Yeah, this is the desktop beacon. It seems to be working. I'm having a good time with it. My one problem is that the monitor doesn't have good audio. It's an old, ancient flat screen that someone gave me to use for a monitor. And the speakers are kind of tinny, at least on YouTube. But it's a nice big picture, which is nice. Oh, I'm on Great Granny's rocking chair. That's why I'm rocking. Long story. When I was little, I loved to sit in Great Granny's rocking chair, and she'd come into the room and say, "Get off my chair." Well, it was the only place where she could sit comfortably. She had broken her back very seriously. She was in a car crash as a passenger. And the doctors told the whole family that great granny never would walk again. But nobody told great granny, so she walked again. Well, now I have a broken back. Not from injury per se, small injuries over the years, okay, but nothing major. But I do have osteoporosis, and I've always had troubles with my spine. Oh, Beacon loved the interview with Clyde. I was kind of um, reviewing Clyde as we went. I would say something and pause so he could ask for more info, another question on the same topic, and he would change topics every time I paused. I try to be honest, Beacon, but that doesn't mean I tell everything. So if omission is a lie, then I do sometimes lie, but it's things that you don't need to know anyway. I really wonder, evil phone, about that secret school. That's what Whitley Strieber called them. I've kind of quit listening to Whitley Strieber because, one, it's repetitive, it's the same stuff. And two, I think he's gone off the deep end, probably from grief after his wife's death. Okay, time to refill the water. Be right back. Dum de dum, dum de dum de dum, dum de dum, dum de dum de dum, dum, dum de dum, dum de dum, dum de dum de dum. Oh, I'm dragging this morning. My neck is stiff. Let's see. All have sinned according to Paul. He taught Gentiles the law of grace. Yeah, well, Paul points out all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. There is a metaphor about an archer shooting an arrow, and it doesn't make it all the way to the target. It comes down and falls short. Ah. So it isn't that we do sin, that we perform things, although that does happen. It's more a matter of we just are not good enough. And most people put it down to Adam and Eve eating the forbidden fruit. An ointment for my stiff neck. It's Asper cream. I'd rather have Ben Gay, but I don't have any. Well, if you don't believe, I can't make you believe. I can't give you the experience that made me believe. I've always believed in God, but it took years of battle to believe in Jesus Christ. And do you know that many people don't know that Jesus was a Jew? In in uh, In fact, he was what they call a son of David. The house of David, the kings. Well, anyway, um, I used to listen to Art Bell, and one of my favorite guests was Father Malachi Martin, a Catholic exorcist who got the Pope to relieve him of all his vows like poverty. He remained celibate, but he made money writing books. Anyway, he said if you really want to believe, but you can't, pray to God and ask God to help you believe. So I did. And it worked, but it was not fun. There was no, oh, I'm saved. Are you saved? None of that crap. It was intense. So all I can say is whether you're atheist or agnostic or call yourself a Christian, whatever, if you have doubts, and doubts do creep into my mind from time to time, just pray to God and ask God to help you believe. And you'll have your own experience, not mine. Jason Reza Giorgiani on Art Bell? I don't know, Everett. Doesn't sound familiar. Yeah, exactly, Jason. If you've seen me, you've seen the Father. The point of the crucifixion is that God Himself paid for all our sins. So there are sins in the sense of doing something bad. But the main thing for us is that we're inferior. All of us. But it isn't just because of Adam and Eve eating the forbidden fruit. It says quite clearly that they brought death into the world. It doesn't say that they made everybody a sinner. However, we all sin we all fall short because of what happened in the Garden of Eden. I will look it up, Everett. Jason Reza Giorgiani on YouTube. But people kind of pass over the Tower of Babel and that strange passage in Genesis chapter 6, or is it chapter 4? Oh gosh, I don't remember. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, it must be chapter 6. Yeah. I've got the ESV, the English Standard Version. I'll drop a link in the chat. New Thinking Aloud. Apparently, that's a good YouTube channel. Yeah. Okay. Um, in Genesis 5, come on. Well, and, well, whatever. We'll do 6. When man began to multiply on the face of the land, and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of man were attractive, and they took as their wives any they chose. Now, there have been attempts to say, oh, the sons of God are just the godly sons of Seth, and the daughters of men were the evil daughters of Cain. Well, didn't the son? Didn't Seth have any good daughters? Yeah, Chuck Missler is good too. I miss him too, Vegan. Anyway, no, sons of God, everywhere you see it in the Old Testament, the Bible, they're heavenly beings. They are spirits who can take on flesh. Then the Lord said, my spirit shall not abide in man forever, for he is flesh. His days shall be 120 years. Now, does that mean we should live to be 120, or does it mean that it was 120 years before the flood? I don't know. But I don't know of anyone living to be 120. And Abraham, who was born long after the flood, lived a lot longer than 120 years. So there. So I think he means 120 years until the flood. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days and also afterward. And of course, Nephilim has a little footnote. It means giants. Now, I think it's a pun because it is not a Hebrew word. It comes probably from the Akkadian, the language of ancient Assyria. Might come from Aramaic, but I think it's Akkadian. Dr. Michael Heiser lays it out, and I never remember everything he said. There's hours and hours. Okay, the Nephilim were on the earth in those days and also afterward, when the sons of God came into the daughters of man and they bore children to them. These were the mighty men who were of old, the men of renown. Well, I think it was Chuck Missler and Michael Heiser both pointed out that, I know it was Chuck Missler, might have been Michael Heiser. The mighty men, men of renown, really says men of bad reputation. They were not like, ooh, a movie star. They were like, oh my God, it's the evil criminal. The Lord saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every intention of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And the Lord regretted that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him to his heart. So the Lord said, I will blot out man whom I have created from the face of the land, man and animals and creeping things and birds of the heavens, for I am sorry that I have made them. But Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord. And then, verse 9, these are the generations of Noah. Noah was a righteous man, blameless in his generation. Okay, now from, by the way, the wives were not forced to marry the sons of God. Well, maybe their fathers forced them, but the sons of God gave them all kinds of goodies in exchange, like knowledge of magic and stuff. But Noah was a righteous man, blameless in his generation. That phrase, blameless in his generation, is what they use of a lamb who is suitable for sacrifice, unblemished, a perfect lamb, genetically. In other words, Noah was not a Nephilim. He was a pure human with no sons of God blood. Noah walked with God. That must have been amazing because, God couldn't walk with Adam and Eve in the garden anymore. They would have died if they saw God. But Noah walked with God. Oh, and his ancestor Seth also walked with God, and God took him. And let's see, and Seth was not, for God took him. And as what's his name used to ask, where'd he take him? Who was that guy? Oh, guy. I should know the name. It's on the tip of my tongue. The crazy preacher who said, "Send me money. I need a new Cadillac." Vegan. Baby animals aren't very big. Eggs are even smaller. Besides, I'm sure that Noah didn't bother to take every creature in the world. He took the ones that were available where he lived. And we don't know where Noah lived. All right, that's enough of that Bible thing. The chapter 6 of Genesis. Oh, what the heck was that guy's name? That's going to bug me. I should know it without thinking. I can picture him. Oh, well. Anyway, now on the Tower of Babel, after the flood, what did God say? The same thing he told Adam and Eve: be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth. And what did the people do? They sat down between the two rivers, the Tigris and Euphrates, and built a city and a temple and a tower. So God smashed the tower, confused their languages, and scattered them all over the earth, which was what he had told them to do. Yeah, there's different ways of counting the animals on the ark, but if it was the size they say it was, the problem I see is, how come the food didn't rot? I forget exactly how long the ark floated before the waters receded, but I'm sure he didn't take any dinosaurs or unicorns, for that matter. There's a song by is it the Irish Rovers? Lord, I got you too. Let's see, I got you. Oh man, I can't remember the words, but I got something and long neck geese. But Lord, I'm so forlorn, I just can't see no unicorn. I got you green alligators and long neck geese, some humpy back camels and some chimpanzees, some cats and rats and elephants, but Lord, I'm so forlorn, I just can't see no unicorn. Yep. Anyway, no unicorns on the ark, no dinosaurs. In fact, there's a good reason to believe that the sons of God did some modifications to the animals. It says all flesh was corrupt. Doesn't say all people, it says all flesh. So they probably created the dinosaurs. But we don't have any now. They must have died in the flood. Yeah, Jason, it's Moses, not Noah. That's a common confusion. In fact, one of the trick questions they ask you in logic courses is how long did Moses stay on the ark? Or how long did Noah wander in the wilderness? Because we confuse Noah and Moses. My favorite logic question is a plane crashes on the border between Canada and the United States. Where do you bury the survivors? Well, you don't bury survivors. And even on network news with these so called professionals, they'll say that some guy is the ancestor of his grandfather, or they'll say this guy is the descendant of his grandson. Ancestors are before, descendants are after, as in descend, going down. Oh, Howard. Well, welcome back, Howard. Have to keep your volume down, huh? Volume off. You need you need earphones or headphones. Well, son of a gun. So anyway, the thing about the Tower of Babel is that was how you worship the pagan gods. You built them temples to live in and towers so they could come down from heaven. That was not how you worshipped the God of the Bible. He would not be tamed, domesticated. He would come down when he wanted to and where he wanted to. He didn't need your stinking tower. And the idols, the graven idols, the little statuettes and things, and the big statues, yeah, they were just made by hand. But the idea was that you could persuade one of these spirits to live in that idol and do stuff for you. And the Tower of Babel was a place for God to come down and do stuff for people. Well, God is not a dog who will sit, lie down, and play dead. Sorry. As for God being so vindictive in the Old Testament, people want to say that the New Testament is a completely different God because Jesus was meek and mild. Jesus made a whip and drove the money changers out of his temple. He whipped them. He overturned their little tables and benches and drove them out. That's not meek and mild. And God, considering what we deserved for what we did, he was very merciful, even in the Old Testament. For example, he tells Joshua when he's entering the land, don't you bother the descendants of Lot. They already drove out the Nephilim. And don't you bother the sons of Esau. They already drove out the Nephilim. It's very clear that these people that Joshua and the 12 tribes drove out of the land were invaders. Not peaceful people living a happy life. And there were a few cities where God said, kill everything. Don't even take their gold and jewels. It's mine, says God. But for the most part, they simply drove out the people who had invaded, such as the Philistines. Joshua didn't kill them all. Remember David and Goliath? Goliath was a giant, and he lived with the Philistines. Now, perhaps Goliath was a Nephilim. Maybe. He was very tall, and the academic experts make out that, Goliath was only maybe 6'2". So, that's awfully tall. Hi, at Sequentia. SEQ. And then Og, the king of Bashan, his funeral bed was either 12 or 14 feet long. And of course, the archaeologists or whatever they are, the academic experts, that doesn't mean he was that tall. He just had a great big funeral bed. Okay. But the Bible does call Og a giant. The sunshine. I need to get out in the sunshine. Yesterday I pulled about 1 million weeds, but there's at least 10 million more to pull. Yes, I'm exaggerating, but my yard is full of weeds that have to go. I'm going to have to resort to the weed whacker again, but they come back much more slowly when you pull them up by the roots. It reminds me of some of the parables, like the tares, that's weeds, Tares, among the wheat. It's a parable about how, yeah, there's some pretty bad people among us. Evil computer. But we don't just go and wipe out everybody because there's a few bad people. We don't throw, at least not yet, we don't throw everyone in prison, just the criminals. Oh, a new cup of coffee. That sounds awesome, Jason. Mine is cold and almost empty. Anyway, it's really awesome how much mercy God showed. Those, you see, when Jacob went to Egypt and took all his sons, that doesn't mean that all of Israel went to Egypt. There had to be hundreds and maybe thousands who stayed behind in the land. And it was their land. But while Jacob and his 12 sons were gone, these invaders came along. So Joshua was not leading his army into a land of peaceful farmers who'd been there for centuries. He was driving out the invaders who had stolen the land that belonged to the children of Israel. The children of Jacob's brother Esau had already kicked them out of their land. The children of Lot, Abraham's nephew Lot, had driven the invaders out of their land. But in the land of Jacob and his 12 sons, the invaders had succeeded. Now, as for killing all the living things in a city, livestock, goats and sheep and cows and pigs, well, have you ever tried to raise livestock in a city? If you do, you're raising them in filth. We raise livestock on farms, unless it's a factory farm or owned by an evil corporation where they're packed into barns with concrete floors that they clean by just hosing them off with a lot of water. But that's another story. We don't generally have a cow, a sheep, a pig, and a goat, and some chickens in a home in the city. Odds are there were not many animals, and the few that were there were raised in filth. And of course, don't take their gold or their jewels either. That's mine, says God. And one guy did take some treasure from one of the cities. I don't remember the details, but God put a plague on all of Israel until they finally, the guy confessed, and he and his family were all killed. Rough justice. It seems horrible to us, but it was the custom in the day at that time. You see, not everything in the Bible is a prescription. Let's see, Jacob had 2 wives. Other patriarchs had multiple wives. The Bible is not recommending that you have many wives. Sorry, Mormons, Latter-day Saints. It isn't a prescription. It's what they did. Yeah, exactly. At Sequentia, we're not talking a modern city, but it was even worse. The roads were dirt, the houses were made of bricks or stone or clay. It really was worse than a modern city. When I was a child, we actually had a chicken, a rooster, no eggs. We had a pet chicken and a rabbit and a guinea pig. But we were not raising livestock, we just had them as pets. Oh, we had a dog too. But in an ancient city, you won't find a yard with a lawn and a garden. You just won't, except where the king lives. Yeah, his palace just might have a garden and a lawn and a swimming pool and all that. But ordinary people, no. Yeah, you can have a bunch of chickens and a dog, but I doubt if you have a cow, a sheep, a horse, a donkey, a pig in the city. For one thing, it isn't allowed. Although they'd probably do better in our modern cities, unless you have to be crammed into a high rise apartment building. When I was a teenager, we had a little house where the over the back fence was a right of way, an open field for the railroad tracks and the huge Edison towers, electrical lines. And it was possible. Some people did get a permit to use part of that land to keep a horse or a donkey or a goat. But in ancient times, you would have had probably no room at all between houses. They'd probably be like some of our cities where 2 houses share the same wall between them. Oh, many condominiums are made that way, and apartments. You had narrow streets, not paved, just dirt, which might have been better than walking on pavement the way we do now. But no, they would have been raised in filth. Now, I don't know why God said not to eat pork. Might have been for health. A lot of the other things make sense. For example, oysters. They're a delicacy. But there have been people who got terribly ill from eating oysters. They can be deadly. Uh, you have They have to take great care in how they get the oysters and how they keep them. You want to trade your car in for an RV, Jason? Hmm. Be careful. Inspect the RV carefully. Make sure the roof doesn't leak, etc. Oh, wow. Anyway, where I am, I have a rather large yard, and yet I'm not allowed to have a rooster. I'm allowed to have 2 or 3 hens. They're afraid the rooster crowing might bother my neighbors. Yeah, housing is expensive, but you need to consider the price of gas. Where are you going to get your mail? Are you going to drive that thing to work? Maybe if your boss let you just set up your RV in the parking lot at work and leave it there, it might work out. Might be good. RVs, yeah, you just have to make sure, especially with a used one, that the RV that you buy does not have any serious problems like um, is the toilet working? Is there a leak in the propane gas line? Uh, does the roof leak when it rains? Stuff like that. I have considered just getting a big van conversion, but of course it wouldn't have a toilet or a shower or a kitchen. Rent a lot space. You might find someone who's really anxious to get out of a mobile home that's already in a mobile home park. But you might find that the lot space costs too much. Hmm. Well, back in the day, for about 2 years, I lived in my Honda Accord. I would usually park it at work, put back the seat, and sleep in it. I had a key to the restroom at work, which was helpful. Um, but it really wasn't fun. But I had to save up money for deposits to rent something. And I finally gave up and rented a room. Yeah, good idea, Jason. Trade your car for an RV. Just make sure it's a good RV. I've heard horror stories. And check out the prices for renting a lot. It might not save you. It might not save you any money. I'm about done here, guys. It's time to let the kitties go out and play, and I haven't had breakfast. I don't usually eat breakfast, but it's My tummy wants some food. Come on, you evil phone. Yeah, it's almost 10 a.m. here. And 63 degrees isn't too cold. I guess the kitties could go out and play. Maybe. Big desert bike with a tent and fishing gear. Weekend. I'm too old for that. I'm too old for that now, but there was a time when I would have loved it. Anyway, it's time to batten down the hatches and have a great day. Let's see, have a great day and thank you all for listening. Before I go, let me see if I can get that preacher's name. He called his church the King's House. Google is giving me restaurants. Okay. Almost founded by nope. Can't get the guy's name. It's driving me crazy. Yes, escape the city. Bye.